Thank you, Madam Chair, for holding this hearing. I'd like to begin with Ms. Yentl. You've written a lot about anti-racism and white fragility and things like that. Do you believe that President Trump is a racist?
I don't believe that's relevant to this hearing.
Do you believe that he is?
Wow. Okay, that snippet you just watched from Representative Brandon Gill, let me tell you straight up, this is exactly the kind of clarity and backbone Washington desperately needs right now. From the moment he opened his mouth, you could feel it. No political games, no sugarcoating, no tap dancing around the truth. Just a grown adult calling out the madness we're watching in real time. This shutdown circus that has absolutely nothing to do with policy and everything to do with political power plays. And as you just heard, he lays it out in a way that cuts through the noise. He's not afraid to say that this shutdown is driven by the most extreme faction of the Democratic Party, what he calls a socialist wing, and he explains exactly how their demands balloon into $1.5 trillion worth of irresponsible spending. And regardless of where you fall politically, when someone presents receipts like that, you have to stop and think. But listen, we're going to get into all of that in a moment, because after watching the full video, I have a lot to say. And trust me, it gets wild. Before we dive deeper into the full breakdown and my full reaction, do me a quick favor. Hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and stay locked in.
Thank you, Madam Chair, for holding this hearing. I'd like to begin with Ms. Yentl. You've written a lot about anti-racism and white fragility and things like that. Do you believe that President Trump is a racist?
I don't believe that's relevant to this hearing.
Do you believe that he is?
I'm not here to discuss my personal beliefs. I'm here to speak about the important work
You've tweeted that he's a vile, despicable
country.
Racist. Do you believe that much of his housing policy was racist during his first term?
I'm here to talk about the vital work that nonprofit
So you're not going to answer me?
do throughout
You've
our country
tweeted
and
that
in your district.
it's explicitly racist and deeply harmful. Is that right?
I don't have the tweet in front of me.
I've got it right here. You did tweet that. You tweeted that on September 25th, 2020. You said it's explicitly racist and deeply harmful. Do you know who President Trump's Secretary of Housing and Urban Development was during his first term?
Yes.
Who is it? Who was it?
It was Secretary Carson.
It was Ben Carson. Do you believe that Ben Carson is racist or a white supremacist?
With all due respect, sir, I am not here to talk about former HUD secretaries. I'm here to talk about the essential work
extensively
that
about
nonprofits do in your district and throughout the country.
Okay, we can move on then if you won't answer the question. Are you a racist?
With all due respect, sir, I'm here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits do.
Excuse me, that's a
throughout
very
the
simple
country.
question. Yes or no question. Are you a racist?
I'm not a racist.
You're not a racist. Particularly interesting because according to one of your affiliate charities under your nonprofit umbrella, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Sir, I'm here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits do.
Are you a covert white supremacist?
Can I talk about the work that nonprofits do in
No,
your
I'm
district?
asking you if you're a
'Cause I think
covert
that's the-
white supremacist, which according to one of your own organizations, again, denial of racism constitutes covert white supremacy. Would you like to answer the question?
I don't know what the question is.
So you refuse to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I am here to talk about the essential work that nonprofits do. If you'd like to ask me a
I
question
am utterly
about
dumbfounded.
nonprofits
You are on
in your
record right now,
district
and you will
or
not say
throughout
that
the
you are not a
country.
covert white supremacist?
I don't have a definition in front of me. I haven't looked at the definition. I'm not going to answer a question about my personal
That
views.
is-
I'm here to talk about the work
You're not-
of nonprofit organizations.
I want to give you one more chance to do this. Are you a covert white supremacist?
Why are we so off track from the topic
No,
of
I'm
this
asking you.
hearing?
I'm asking you a very straightforward question.
I've heard your question. Thank you, sir.
And you're not going to answer whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I would like to answer questions about the work
This
of
is-
nonprofit
wow, this is
organizations.
painful.
Thank you.
That is really, really astounding. I can answer very directly that I am not a covert white supremacist, and I imagine all of my colleagues can as well. I think you ought to reevaluate what you're doing in the nonprofit sector if you can't answer that in a straightforward way. That is astounding. Let me ask you another question. Do you believe that it's appropriate to host and promote LGBTQ plus meetups for 9-year-olds?
I am here to support the vital work of nonprofits, and I will say to oppose the federal government targeting groups.
My question is,
with
do you believe
views
it's
that are
appropriate to
different
host
from
and
its
promote
own?
LGBTQ plus meetups for 9-year-olds?
I believe that
Because
the
one of
federal
your
government
affiliate
should not
nonprofits
target
does do that.
organizations that have views different from its own. That is wrong, whatever party is in control, whatever administration
I
is in
think
control.
I think a
to
lot of this
use
is wrong.
federal
Do you think
power.
that it's appropriate for young children to use gender transition paraphernalia? Because one of your
no
not
idea how
affiliated
that
nonprofit organizations gives bras, binders, breast forms, nipples. I'm not even going to repeat this because it's so
Point of order,
disgusting
Madam
for
Chair. The
children of all
gentleman is
ages.
breaching decorum and attacking the witness. Can we please?
I'm
move on
not
to something
attacking the witness. I'm
relevant
simply
to the
asking a
actual
straightforward
issue at
question.
hand, sir?
Mr. Gill, I'll be extending your time. You've been interrupted.
Thank you. Thank you. Do you believe that art exploration camps for transgender and gender diverse youth of the age of 11 is normal?
We support the vital work of nonprofit organizations and oppose the federal government opposing
So you
and targeting
refuse to answer any of
organizations
these
with
questions.
views
You
different
refuse to
than their
even
own.
answer the question of whether you are a covert white supremacist.
I'm not here to answer questions about my personal views or my personal
Is that because
stance.
you don't want to disclose whether you're a covert white supremacist?
I'm here to talk about the essential
I'm
work
giving
that
you a chance
nonprofits
to
do.
tell the world that you are not a covert white supremacist.
Thank
Will
you
you
for the
do
chance.
that?
I'll pass on your chance.
You'll pass on
Thank
that.
you, sir.
That is astounding. That is really astounding. You're a radical far left activist, and you're masquerading as somebody promoting nonprofit, nonpartisan institutions, and you will not even tell this committee that you are not a covert white supremacist. That's astounding. I yield my time back.
The gentleman yield.
All right, now that we watched the full remarks from Representative Brandon Gill, let's talk about what we just witnessed, because this was one of the most detailed, unapologetic takedowns of the shutdown politics that I've heard on the Senate or House floor in a long time. First off, Gill's entire message hinges on one undeniable point. This shutdown isn't about policy. It isn't about negotiation. It isn't about protecting Americans. It's about political pressure from the far-left faction inside the Democratic Party. And whether you agree or disagree, you have to acknowledge that he walked us through point after point with specifics. 1. $1.5 trillion in demands, with zero accountability. Gill breaks down how the so-called socialist wing is refusing to extend negotiations unless Republicans agree to add $1.5 trillion in spending, an absolutely massive number by any standard. He's not talking about minor adjustments. He's talking about complete reversals of reforms designed to stop Medicaid fraud, stop double-dipping, stop ineligible people from gaming the system. And his line, "My mother didn't raise a fool," that's the kind of relatable, grounded, common-sense conviction people respond to. He's simply saying, why should taxpayers fund programs full of loopholes and abuses that we already know exist? 2. Work requirements are not radical. Gill makes it clear, if you're 19 to 64, able-bodied, no dependents at home, then 20 hours of work, school, or community service is not unreasonable. He frames it perfectly. Welfare should be a bridge, not a parking lot. That's a statement a lot of Americans, left, right, and center, quietly agree with. 3. Expanded Obamacare subsidies for high-income owners. This part was shocking. Gill highlights how pandemic-era subsidies now allow people making $200,000, even $600,000 a year to get taxpayer-funded subsidies. That's not what Obamacare was designed for at all. That's not helping the poor. That's mission creep, and is right to call out why continuing that expansion makes no fiscal sense. 4. The foreign spending items. The moment he started listing the foreign spending items removed by Republicans, grants for pastry classes in Haiti, electric buses in Rwanda, programs for social media influencers abroad, you could hear the room react. Because again, Gill's point is simple. Americans are struggling. Why are we funding projects overseas that do nothing for the people paying the taxes? You don't have to be partisan to see why that resonates. 5. Republicans are only asking for 6 weeks. And this is the kicker. Gill clarifies Republicans are not asking for new spending, cuts, or conditions. They simply want 6 more weeks to finish negotiations. That's it. But according to Gill, the far left faction is responding with 6 more weeks only if you give us $1.5 trillion. That's leverage politics at its purest, and is calling it out. 6. Courage to call out the pressure campaign. Gill doesn't sugarcoat it. There's fear inside the Democratic Party of crossing the faction led by Representative Ocasio-Cortez. He's urging them, don't be scared. Don't fold. Don't let one ideological wing dictate the entire shutdown. 7. The final line. And yes, his final critique is sharp, bold, and meant to make headlines. But that's who he is, unfiltered, direct, and not afraid to confront what he sees as extreme ideas head-on. He made it clear. This isn't about hating anyone. It's about rejecting reckless policy. And honestly, agree or disagree, at least is being transparent. Closing thoughts. Representative Brandon Gill delivered one of the strongest, most detailed takedowns of the shutdown politics we've seen. Whether people love him or hate him, they can't deny this. He came with facts, figures, and unapologetic conviction. And in a political climate where everyone tiptoes, that stands out.